This poor laptop right here has died so many times in the last month, and here it is again, about to be replaced. Hello there guys, this is Seventh Mist, and yesterday we fixed this computer. Well, I put fixed in quotation marks because I kind of just turned it on and this time I decided to turn it on. But yeah, today we are going to be doing a couple of things. Today, I'm going to be moving the memory and SSD out of this computer and into this computer because I come to the conclusion that I'm not going to sell this Mac. Not yet. Maybe in a little while, but I want to figure out whether or not I truly want a Mac. So I've been using OS X. Well, let me go further on this. I need to figure out whether or not I want to keep, if I want to get a Mac, or if I just care for the Mac OS. Because I can just hack and tosh any Joe Schmo laptop, and assuming that it's either cheap enough or good enough, it's better than that, or it's as good as that. But if I really do like the hardware, then I'll consider staying. But regardless, at some point or another, this is probably going to be sold off because, I mean, it is a downgrade going from this to this in terms of just a processor. This thing has a 3 gigahertz i7. This thing has like a 2.5 gigahertz i5. Difference isn't gigantic, but it's noticeable. A lot of the difference, though, is going to probably be mitigated by doing the couple of swaps that I'm going to be doing. The hard drive is going to be leaving this computer, the SSD from this computer is going to be going into this computer, and the memory from this computer is going to be going into this computer, and all of that stuff is going to be coming over here. So, yeah, that's the plan. I'm going to get all of the important files off of this laptop, by just taking it out, plugging it in via USB, and then I'm going to install OS X straight onto that SSD like I did with this computer, and then I'll be able to take all of the files that were on this hard drive and transfer them over to the SSD, and then I will have more or less this computer on this computer. Unfortunately, that means that Dell really can't do too much. For a while, it's probably just going to be either sitting around doing nothing or sitting around as a server. Unfortunately, I really can't do too much with it because I don't have enough memory in this thing, or it won't have enough memory. It'll have like either 4 or maybe 6 gigs if I take the 4 gigabyte stick out of here and put it into here. But this computer is going to be unfortunately useless because it just won't have the hardware to do anything. But, I don't know. Maybe I'll take the 500 gig drive that's in here and put it into the desktop and use that as a third hard drive in the RAID 0 volume that I have, but I don't know what to do yet. But first things first, everything that's on the old laptop needs to be moved to the new laptop. Change in plan. It was taking a really long time to copy all the stuff over because, well, it's going over USB 2. So what we're going to do instead is not use that. I nuked the Windows partition, which was the first partition on the drive, which is really important because if it was the second partition, this would not work as it will the way that I'm doing it, but I nuked the first partition. I'm going to install OS X using this, and it's going to reboot and install it onto the first partition. And then I am going to move all the stuff from the old partition onto the new partition, and then expand the partition so it's the full disk size. So, we gotta do that, and then we should be good to go. And then I can just take this SSD and plop it right in here, and it'll be perfectly usable. And then I just have to figure out what to do with the old hard drive. But, the updates are like happening right now. So excited. The installation has begun, and it looks a little bit different than it normally does. I've never actually seen it like that. It usually goes to the full installer, but I guess it decided to load up a minimal version of it. But while that's going, I've decided it is time for some food. I'm making a bunch of bacon, and then a bunch of eggs are going to go on top of that bacon, and then we're going to have delicious, delicious eggs and bacon. Yeah, we're running a little low on some supplies. We actually need to go shopping sometime soon. But maybe we'll do that soon. Until then, it's time for eggs and bacon. So this is the lineup of spices that are going to be going into the eggs. Really, it's nothing too special. We just have onion and garlic powder because both of those are fantastic. Minced onion because this tastes slightly different than that, and this tastes really good in eggs. Black pepper because you can't have eggs without pepper. Some salt, and then a sprinkle of Old Bay for the ultimate combination of wonderful flavors. And usually I feel like I go a little overboard with the spices, but that's how I like it. So, fair bit of onion powder. This is so difficult to do with one hand. And the bacon is warming up wonderfully. I'm gonna have to flip it soon, probably as soon as I'm done seasoning this up with flavor. You know, I will put the caps on afterwards. So, sprinkle like crazy. Then the pepper, I have to be a little careful because there have been a couple of times when I've put in way too much and it was just an unpleasant experience. Like, I love pepper, but I don't want it to be unpleasant. Then salt, because salt is needed. And then the last step is the hit of Old Bay. And now I'm going to lightly scramble it, not too much, just enough to like get everything mixed together and sort of scrambled. Not super scrambled though, because when you're making an omelet, I always feel like it's best if the yolks are not entirely evenly distributed, but like just sort of distributed throughout everything. So I would say like here is lightly beaten. But now all this bacon needs to be flipped. I think I'm going to use these because this will probably be the easiest. No, I don't know how I'm going to do it. I can never figure out how to flip the bacon. It's always difficult. But alas, it must be done. The bacon is just about done. Actually, I'd say that it is pretty much done. So that probably looks like a lot of bacon. That is 6 strips, but considering that it is going between 2 of us, I think that is... it's not too bad. 3 slices each isn't a small amount of bacon, but it's also not like a horrifically large amount of bacon. But I need to drain the fat and then put in the eggs and fry it all together into some form of deliciousness. I've also decided to throw in some Colby Jack because everything's better with cheese. Unfortunately, we have run out of onion, so I cannot sprinkle some chopped onion in this, but everything has been added to the pan, and now it just needs to be all cooked together. Oh, that smells really good. I am so excited for this. This has turned from an omelet to a more of a scrambled eggs with bacon and cheese, which honestly I have no problem with. But it's no omelets. But I guess I usually make scrambled eggs, so this is going to be just pretty similar to what it normally is with bacon chunks. And I mean, how could that possibly go wrong? Bacon chunks can never go wrong. But it is just about done, if not done already. And now that it's done, I think I'm going to turn on this coffee and have a second cup because I'm not feeling super awake yet. But alas, that is okay because now it is time to eat. I believe that this is done. I think it's trying to boot off of that drive, so I'm going to need to shut it down and then not do that because it's not what I want to do. Not booting. I don't want to boot off of it while it's over USB. But let's eat. The deed is done. Let's see how it tastes. Looks really hot. But, ooh, let's see if I can get a bit of egg, cheese, and bacon. Oh, there's just like cheesy chunks of egg that are just fused together. Not bad. Not bad. Oh, I'm gonna enjoy this. Got the 2 upgrades right there. And here we go. Opening it up. So nice. Okay, so now that we have this open, step 1, disconnect the battery. Step 2, remove the old memory. Got 1, and 1, and a 2. It's a 2-handed job, can't do that with 1 hand. And just wiggle that out. Great, now we can stick these sticks of memory in. So here's the first one, goes in down like that. Oh, Mac memory is always so difficult to put in because these slots are like really weirdly shaped. I might need to do this without holding the camera. Or let's see if there's a place that I can put this down. Like if I were to put it down right here, would you get a good view? Maybe. Just maybe. Then I think we could just wire this in and do that. Okay, 1 stick is in, and the second stick will be in right about now. There we go. Perfect. Now we have to remove this drive again. This drive has gone in and out of this computer like 5 times in the last, well, okay, maybe not 5 times, but like 3 or 4 times in the last 24 hours, and here is the last time where it is being removed, so it can be replaced by that SSD. That is the 840 Evo, a pretty crappy SSD in my opinion. Like, it's fast enough, but it has a couple of glaring problems that are going to make it die significantly earlier than it would have had to have, in that the algorithms that were used to determine how old data is on the drive, which is actually quite important when it comes to SSDs, because the signal that is, or rather the magnetic field, not magnetic, the electron that is left there will, or I should say electrons that are left there, the current that is stored in each bit degrades over time, and there is a certain algorithm that is used to predict what that bit should be, given how much has degraded, based on how long it's been since the byte was written, or the bit was written. And the 840 Evo had a bit of a problem where that algorithm wasn't exactly good, and the fix was to just rewrite the data every so often. And that's all fine and dandy, except for when it's not. That causes a lot more writes to be put onto the drive that weren't initially put, so this thing's smart data says that it is 93% of, well, it still has 93% of its life left, which seems like not a lot considering that it is not exactly an old drive. It's about 2 years old at this point. But yeah, we're going to replace this old hard drive with that, so I need 2 hands to do this. Easily the most obnoxious part of this entire process was removing the little screws that went into these holes. There were only 3 of them. There's supposed to be 4 of them, I guess. One of them was missing, but removing those 3 little studs from these holes was very difficult because they are, let's see if I can get the camera to even focus on this. Come on. Ooh, gotta readjust that. Come on, focus you. So these are hex nuts, I believe that's what they're called, and the smallest head that I had was not big enough to fit into this teeny tiny little hole. So I had to use these pliers to firmly grasp it and twist it out. So now I need to do that again, except I need to put them into the SSD. So much fun. I hate these things. Everything has been put in. We have 16 gigs of DDR3 and then this 256 gig drive, which are replacing the old 500 gigabyte hard drive and the 4 gigs of RAM that was in here before. So I'm not going to screw this entirely back together just yet. First I need to do the power on test, because if I might have put in, I've always noticed there is like a small chance that you put in memory incorrectly, and as a result, oh, it would help if I plugged the battery in. As a result, doing that makes the computer not boot. So first thing I want to do is make sure that the computer boots and turns on before sealing it back together. So, open it up, take the power, and oh no, not close enough to the power. Do that, and light comes on, computer makes the sound. Does it boot? And does it boot quickly? Those are the 2 important questions. Well, it's definitely taking a very long time to get to the Apple logo, but after that, maybe. Now this poor computer has been delegated to the, I don't know what I'm going to do with it, because both of all the stuff that was in here is now in here, and wow, that's certainly starting up significantly faster than it was before. Much faster. Well, at least it was until it stopped. And it lives. It lives with much more than it had before, so that is really good, except it's not detecting the wireless network that I need to connect to. Dang it! But yeah, now that this works, I think I'm going to set everything up, and I'll give you guys an update after it's all good to go. OS X has been installed, and I'm finally in it. We can go to About This Mac, and everything is as it should be, except you really can't see the SSD from here, because, let's see if I go over here, I think you can. No, right here, herp. There we go. SSD is properly installed, and oh look, there's this poor CD-DVD drive that is super dead. But now that we have all of this, I should be able to just paste the applications into here, and they should copy relatively quickly, I would say. at least compared to what it was before, because now I'm copying it from drive to drive, or from one drive to itself, over SATA instead of over USB, so it should be significantly faster. Before it was going to take a couple of hours, I think, and this should take far less than a single hour, or at least I would hope that it would. And then I have to copy over all the open emulator stuff, and then I believe that will be everything that I need off of the one part of it onto the other one. And oh no, this battery's about to die. Great. I guess I gotta charge this battery now. 8 minutes to copy. That should be relatively short. Yeah, that's a lot shorter than what it was. That's really nice, actually. So I'm moving all of that stuff over, and now I need to figure out where the heck my open emulator stuff is, because if I recall, it's in a kind of weird place. Let's see. Is it here? Oh, maybe this is it. That would actually be super convenient if that's it. Let's see. If I can find the ROMs, then that would be for sure. No, this is the compiled version of it. It's in some weird directory that I think I can find. I just need to look it up. But everything is looking pretty good so far. Everything is being installed. Everything is copying over, and I'm happy to say that this computer is running pretty well now. Before it was running quite slow because, I mean, with 4 gigs of RAM and an old 500 gigabyte hard drive, there's not really too much you can do to speed it up a ton. Those are the biggest bottlenecks, but now that everything's working great, let's see what crazy stuff I can do with this computer. Okay, everything has been copied over. Now, it's time to finish things up. So we're over in disk utility. We need to go to the partition manager, and oh, what the heck? Oh no, the partitions are messed up. Uh-oh. I might need to do some things at a later point, but let's get rid of that. And which one of these is one of these partitions I cannot care about? I don't know which one it is, but if we do that, then we can merge. What? Operation failed? Couldn't unmount disk. I need to expand the old. Uh-oh. No. Okay, so I need to expand this into that. However, for some reason it's not letting me do that. Let's see. I need to get rid of the old Mac partition. Goodbye. And now the Macintosh SSD partition is supposed to be the entire thing. And it failed. I might need to, like, boot into gparted and do this in a much more obnoxious way, because I think there are still a couple of residual partitions around from the old installer. This could be a problem. Operation successful. I just had to unmount the drive. It was mounted, and I think terminal and disk utility were both trying to use it, and disk utility would not want to relinquish control to itself. So after fiddling around with it, we now have a. Oh no, that's not right yet. About this Mac. Actually, no, that's super wrong. Let's see if we go over here. Has this updated yet? I might need to restart the computer. Uh-oh. It's very confused. This drive should be, yeah, that's what it should be. However, it is being read incorrectly right here. Maybe I just need to reboot. Maybe. Oh, there we go. Okay, so yeah, that is being detected properly. Woo! However, I am still pretty sure that there are still some residual partitions left from previous installs or from the old Hackintosh. So I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do about that. I could boot into gparted, which is on this flash drive, and just nuke the partitions, but then I'd have to move the partitions over because they're at the beginning of the partition map, which is a huge hassle. And I might just say, screw it, this should work good enough. And you know what? I'm going to say, screw it, this should work good enough, and I've been cleaning some of these keys because they've been quite gummy, but so far, a lot of them have cleaned up quite well. Unfortunately, in the process of doing that, I sort of messed up this key. I broke one of the plastic tabs holding it in, so I guess that's one more point for just replacing the entire keyboard, because now it has a broken key in it. And even though I've cleaned out these keys, they are still a little gummy. They were good, and now they've gotten worse, so I don't know what I'm going to have to do with that. But what I want to do now is probably a pretty dumb idea. We're going to attempt to put in this bootleg version of Final Fantasy VII Advent Children into this disk drive. This disk drive is supposed to be dead, or at least I am assuming it's dead because it's what took the brunt of the spill. Let's see what happens. Let's see if it's even alive. Oh, it took it. It was just like, this is mine now. Is it gonna spin up? I guess I'll load up the DVD player. I think it's spinning up! What? Set drive region. I don't know what this is supposed to be. I'm gonna assume to America. Wait, what? I don't know what this exactly is going on about, but drive's current region is 1. It needs to be set to Chinese because this came from China. That's hilarious. Wow! It works! And apparently this is some random Chinese thing. I got this disc when I was in China many, many years ago. But apparently the disk drive works. Okay, well that's good. Now, let's eject it. Oh my god, it works. That's hilarious. I was not expecting that to work at all. But now I know the disk drive is functional. I mean, it sounds awful, but it works. I think. But, yeah, that's most of the stuff that I needed to do with this. Now it's just, darn, this darn key got messed up. Like, ugh. That's so unfortunate. And yeah, the plastic tab snapped off. Maybe you could super glue it back, but at that point, what's the point? I'm just gonna replace the keyboard. It's like $20 for a new keyboard and backlight assembly. The only unfortunate thing is the actual replacement is kind of difficult to do. However, I know that RIT offers like on-campus repairs for computers, so I don't know if I'd be able to just give someone this keyboard and like get a keyboard, give it to them, and have them replace it for me, because I'm pretty sure I get that service for free as a student of RIT. But I don't know, we'll figure that out, I guess, whenever I get that keyboard. For now, I'm just gonna live with this thing being stupid. It's a darn key. And it's unfortunate since like it's a bracket key, and to a lot of people this key is useless, but as a programmer this key is actually like really important to me, because you put brackets whenever you declare a new function, and now that key's messed up. Occasionally if you hit it like this you'll like dislodge it, but I don't know, maybe I'll just live with it. We'll figure that out as time goes on. So about an hour or so later I have come to test the keys out, and they are once again mushy. So given the fact that I've broken a key and that they're still dirty, cleaning it's going to be a little difficult. I think I'm just going to replace the entire keyboard assembly. So that's going to replace the keyboard and the power button, which is good since the power button is broken. And I think earlier today I saw them on eBay for like $20. Like if I go to eBay and then search A1278, what the crap? A1278 keyboard and backlight. We can see that they aren't too bad. Let's see. I just don't know if these are like official ones or if they're weird bootleg ones, because if they're bootleg ones then that might be bad. But I'm trying to figure out the one, or find the one that I saw earlier that was $19.99. I think I might pull the trigger on that if I can find one. Because yeah, this thing has officially become too annoying to actually fix. So yeah, with this thing being broken, and with these keys being broken, and with the power button being broken, I think it's worth it to just replace the keyboard. Now I just need to figure out if the school will do it for me or if I need to do it myself, because if I can get someone to do it for me, the biggest benefit to that would be that I wouldn't have to worry about the tools. I don't really have the tools to take this thing apart. I wouldn't mind taking it apart, but I just don't have the screwdrivers to do it. So, see if I can do that. But as a result of this being my temporary mobile computer, the Dell, which is now sitting underneath the Lenovo, is currently useless. It does not have a place in my entire setup, which is actually kind of funny. Like, it legitimately just has no purpose out of all of my computers, because with the two desktops, they're stationary and they can do stuff by themselves. They're not too loud, they don't overheat. I mean, this desktop isn't exactly powerful, but it could be pretty good. It's just, it only has 6 gigs of RAM. That Dell has 4 gigs of RAM and a hard drive. Maybe the 500 gig drive that I put into the Mac is obviously now just sitting over here. So I don't know what this thing can do. It has as much of use as, or I could do just about as much with this Lenovo as I could with this, because, I mean, both of them don't really have a complete set of hardware. So what I'll do with it, I don't know. For now, it's just going to be sitting here collecting a little bit of dust as this one gets used as the primary computer. And updates are available. Great. Install them now. Not now. But I think I'm going to end off today's vlog a little bit early because I want to edit yesterday's vlog and today's vlog on this thing. Now that I have a computer that can run Final Cut Pro correctly, this guy over here could run Final Cut Pro obviously when it was running OS X. However, it would crash. The computer would just crash every once in a while, and I think that boils down to it overheating to the point where it's just like, nah man, I'm not going to do that anymore. So I'm going to actually try to edit these vlogs on this camera on that computer, see how that turns out. If that works out, great. That's just yet another argument in OS X's favor. But yeah, that's going to be all for now. Wow, it's still bright outside and I'm ending off today's vlog. That is different. Although, that brightness is deceiving. It is 7:19 right now, so yeah. That's going to be all for today, guys. I do hope you enjoyed today's video. And I don't know, maybe if something super exciting happens later on, I will resume this vlog. But assuming that doesn't happen, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Until then, goodbye. Wow, I can't say goodnight because it's too early to say goodnight. Saying goodbye seems like I won't be coming back anytime soon. See you guys tomorrow. There we go. That's good for now. Bye-bye.